Talk about School Resource Officer Public Investment Plan. We appreciate you all being here. Just a caveat, we have lots of PIP requests. It doesn't mean if your funding doesn't come through that it wasn't a great idea or that we might not do this on another time, but I did want to just say thank you for putting all this hard work into this PIP at this moment. I know that it's been a lot of collaboration across a lot of departments, so I appreciate it. I'm going to turn it over to you. You have 7 minutes, and then we'll ask you questions for 7 minutes.
Thank you, Mayor. I'm Captain David Corn with the Metropolitan Nashville Police Department. With me is Mr. Mihek with our Fiscal Division, Harold Wells, he's been an SRO for about 18 years, Tony Majors, one of our great partners with MNPS, and I'm not going to, Barb G from Fiscal. I can't pronounce her last name. I don't want to get her bad side. So our proposal today is to increase the number of SROs to meet our current plan with regular MNPS schools. So this would include adding SROs to our charter schools, both middle and high school. Extreme violence across the United States, to include terrorism, is a very real problem today. Governments, school systems, to include public, private, and higher education, law enforcement agencies, and communities must take measures to ensure that the safety of the students and educators at all educational institutions. Some statistics I pulled shows that for the last 5 decades, there's been a number of incidents that occurred in schools. In 1960s, you saw there was 19 incidents. It progressively increased all the way to the 1990s with 49, in the 2000s 51, and up to date in 2016 there have been 109. So if you look at the increase from 1960 to 2010s, there's a 473% increase with incidences, and comparing last decade with the first 6 years of this decade, we're looking at a 113% increase. In addition to that, well, thank you. In addition to that, we have unfortunately, an increasing issue with Nashville youth violence. In 2015, 20 young Nashvillians aged 19 and under died in homicides, the highest in the last 10 years. Correlating with that, MNPD SROs recovered 18 firearms this year, currently for this year's school year. The chart represents a significant increase in homicides for the past decades in regards to youth violence. Again, this goes back to our society is filled with extreme violence, and at times that violence occurs at schools where thousands of children and school staff members are in attendance. Now, this is going to, by staffing, this is going to create a substantial impact to the budget. The numbers that you have are probably a little skewed based on some numbers that we developed. OEM is aware of the changes, so I'm going to read you some numbers that are slightly different. Currently, we operate with 73 FTEs for a total of $6,129,000 with a non-salary of $151,000. By implementing this program in the first year, we'll have quite a hefty setup. The total bill will be, the total increase to the budget will be $3.4 million. A lot of that is going to be $226,000 for initial setup, which is the issue, the police issue, telecommunications, etc. Also, there is the cars at $810,000, and to supplement those cars with the proper police equipment would be an additional $270,000. Now, with that, we propose an increase of 27 FTEs to the SRO program. There are 17 charter schools that we want to add the officers to, 9 middle schools and 8 high schools. Traditionally, we add 2 officers to every high school and 1 to every middle school. For year 2 and 3, we'll just have to maintain the salaries to cover those officers at the cost of $2.1 million. Now, basically, I've just talked about public safety and security of the establishments. The benefits of the SRO go beyond, the The benefits of the SRO, additional security for the students and staff and visitors. SROs are present 30 minutes prior to the start of the school day and 30 minutes at the end of the school day. They're selected in key areas for high visibility throughout the day. SROs are constantly walking to school during regular school hours to maintain a secure facility. All MMPD officers are trained in active aggressor situations. Active aggressors design their plan of attack to cause as much harm in the first 10 minutes. Typically, nationwide, the average police response time is anywhere from 10 to 15 minutes. Studies have proven that fast active aggressors are encountered by law enforcement, the faster the situation is resolved. So the equation is the SRO is already on the scene, which most certainly equates to lives saved. Benefits of the SROs continued. In addition to the public safety guardian role, SROs will provide a positive role model to the students, promotes a close working relationship between the SRO, which is the agency, and the students, which is our community. Also paves the way for the SRO to mentor and counsel students when appropriate. The SROs provide educational instruction to the students, such as the GREAT program. I haven't left Harold much time, but Officer Harold Wells can expand a little bit on one of our greatest programs, which is the GREAT program.
Thank you, Captain.
You're welcome.
Currently, our program has 4 components. We have the elementary school component, which is a 6-week curriculum. We have the middle school and the summer and the families. And our latest statistics have shown that because of the program we've had in the schools, that it's had very, very positive results from building relationships with the kids and the communities in the school. The following pictures represents each of the program. At the top left, you'll see our summer program, which we have approximately about 600 kids that we have every summer that we're taking off the streets and providing some positive outlets. Top right, you'll see your Choose to Be Great program that we've had at one of our schools. In the middle, when you see that big guy in the pink shirt, that's me. That's our Great Families program, which we formed a relationship with our Muslim community. So we're really expanding our program. And the bottom left is our middle school program, which is at IT Crestwell Middle, and they're going through all the particular components of the middle school. And on the right, that's our elementary program presentation, and that's our game master. He's teaching our younger elementary students about the GREAT program. So all of our programs designed to really enhance the relationship with our young people and overall our community. So, but thank you for your time.
Thank you. Just a quick question. How does the GREAT program connect back to the SRO request?
Each SRO that's assigned to the school teaches the GREAT program, whether it's 5th grade or 6th grade. It just depends on the makeup of the school. And they teach us a set curriculum. So
this SRO also, you go back to the slide, you had the summer program. So the summer program component is somehow also connected to, if I have more SROs, I'll be able to serve more children?
Yes, ma'am, definitely. Okay. Yes, ma'am, because we'll have more of those kids invited from those schools to the summer camps. And the SRO has a personal relationship with those kids, so they'll tend to get them applications and bring them to the summer camp and enhance that relationship. So it's all about relationship.
So with 27 new SROs, what do you project might be my youth served with this?
It would probably likely almost double, Mayor, if the numbers, we talk about that, it would likely double. We may have to even expand our camps to add more camps.
And would there be a cost associated with that as well? Or? Yes,
ma'am, likely. It would likely be, yes. We spend quite a bit of money. Our wonderful chief gives us the money to go out and do these summer camps every summer. We spend quite a bit, but it's a great benefit to the city and the department.
So there might be an additional budget request because you would be expanding the program?
Yes, ma'am, likely. Mm-hmm.
Well, I think that if you look at it, I don't think it would be double the cost because the camp's already set in place. So most of the money we spend will be on activities and food for the children. Like we feed them breakfast and lunch, those type of things. So it's not like double. Yeah. And one thing Harold didn't access to is the officers, when school's out, this is when we do our GREAT camps. And so the 27 officers that we would add, the majority of them would still be on T-Spot to us to do these camps, regardless of which precinct they're in. And what we've done the last couple of years is we used to have just 4 camps, and now we've grown to 6 camps, and we changed those geographically across the county to make sure that we hit more geographical areas and communities as needed.
And they are 6 one-week summer camps. The kids are in school for 1 week.
They're in camp for 1 week.
For 1 week, yes.
Mm-hmm. Okay, all right.
Have you set Yes, nope. Have you set specific metrics for decreasing youth violence? Ultimately, what we want the programming, the summer camps, the increased number of SROs to do is affect the upward trend that's happening. And have you projected how all of that will turn that around or begin to turn that around?
Yes, ma'am. Actually, we're working very closely with the school system in decreasing the number of incidents of arrests through a number of programs, through restorative justice, through counseling and mentoring. We're working very close with them to try to reduce the number of incidents and arrests that we currently have and increase a positive relationship with our children. So yes, ma'am, we are working toward that.
And when do you project seeing a downward trend instead of an upward trend?
So the SRO expansion request is just one component of the youth violence reduction plan for the entire city. So in addition to the expansion of our SRO model in DARE and the exposure and students being engaged in the summer camp, we're also working with the PASSAGE initiative, which focuses on discipline disparities. We also have a strong data tracking partnership with the SROs and Commander Wales, who shares data with us consistently. We are seeing a positive trend line currently with reductions in school-based incidents and out-of-school suspension. We are still continuing to evaluate the actual youth violence indicators, but we're, as he mentioned, restorative practices. We're also focusing on the adverse childhood experiences research and increasing the level of school-based social services support for our children. So it's not just one entity that's addressing the issue. It's a collaborative between the mayor's office, the SROs, and many of our community-based agencies.
That's good, because I think there's opportunity if you're coordinated to get this done.
Yes, ma'am.
Michael?
The SRO request here is to staff the charters, is that correct?
That's correct. 17 charter schools, and I think 9 of those are middle school and 8 are high schools. 7 of them are high schools.
Are all of them at full capacity with their classes? Because I know some charters are newer and they may only have 1 grade or 2 grade. How many grades do those 17 cover that you're looking to cover now?
Captain Corman and I have already had this conversation regarding both looking at the charter school need as well as remaining district zone school needs. So the issue of capacity is one thing that we do have to evaluate as we move forward with the request. We also need to look at where they are in terms of their progression, at what capacity they are in terms of student enrollment, but also based on where they anticipate if they're going to be a 5-12 model. We actually do believe that an SRO is valuable in every middle and high school. That includes our charter schools, but it also includes our other non-traditional zone schools or option schools that currently do not have SROs.
I understand. The question I was trying to seek clarity around is if the charter is half the size of a school where a single SRO is at another school, is it a shared responsibility across 2 charters instead of 1? How does that staffing model work to the number of students that may be in a single locale, particularly if the charter only has 1 or 2 operational grades and the school across the way may have 8 operating grades? That's really what I was trying to understand.
Well, the way the model has been in the past is if we have an SRO, they're an SRO full-time. We don't share because we want to maintain their presence there.
Okay.
So even if a charter school is a 5-8 charter and they currently only have 5th and 6th grade, we do have middle school students in that building, so we would want the SRO in place so that even as we expand, the SRO would still remain.
Okay.
And to add
Thank you
on,
for the clarification.
if I could add to that, some of the schools that are charter middle school and high schools, they're in the same complex or they're next door neighbors, so to speak. We didn't put a single SRO in the middle school and then 2 in the high schools. We're going to allow the high schools to share those responsibilities to be fiscally responsible. I think they can get it done because they're both really in the same venue. They go back and forth, teach all the time anyway. It's oftentimes enough SROs will leave to go instruct at elementary schools.
So in that case, the middle and the high school officer would be shared across.
That is correct because it's facility-based and it's close. It would be different than his program.
And can you elaborate on the fact that you just mentioned that we still have a deficit of SROs in some of our schools? This does not completely cover all of our schools. Is that correct? You said that non-traditional schools?
Yeah, there are some schools, ma'am, that do not have SROs. Our elementary schools do not have a resident SRO.
Yeah, take the elementary schools out. I think, do we have non-traditional high schools that will not have SROs as well? Tony, why don't you just talk to me about that?
Yes, we do have a few of our programs that, due to size at this point, do not have SROs, such as the academies and a few others. We've had the conversation at the potential for us to look at addressing those needs as well moving forward. So at this point, no, all of our zoned and optional middle schools and high schools do not have SROs, but it's solely been based on the size of the program in the past. But we're having those conversations now.
But to Michael's point, there may be sizes of the charter programs that might still fit into that model that you're talking about that would, so why that one and not this one?
But that sort of has been our conversation about, as we look at where this goes, does the potential exist for us to go ahead and satisfy the needs in our non-traditional schools, non-traditional school program schools, at the same time as we're addressing the charter school needs.
Well, can I see that total request?
Sure.
Not
Good.
today, but
Yes, ma'am.
thank you. Thank you. Thank you so much for being here. I appreciate it.